Nation, no matter the location, from OAK, LA to LV, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and we're hitting you today with the latest news and rumors. The first topic we're going to be talking about on today's show is Casey Hayward. Is he not going to be starting this upcoming season? Bleacher Report gave 3 free agents that the Raiders should go out and target. I'm going to tell you whether or not they should or not. Then the latest 2020 odds have come out. I'll be honest, they're a little bit disrespectful, but we'll talk about everything going on. And at the very end of today's show, you know the whole saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies close. So there's a new report out there really linking Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos. That's all coming up on the Raiders Report. The first story we're going to get into here, though, is around Casey Hayward. And Vic Tafur, he went on Twitter. He said he doesn't have to start to be a great fit, okay? That's what he said about Casey Hayward this upcoming season for the Las Vegas Raiders. The one thing that I love about Raider Nation, one thing I love about social media, people can sometimes overreact. So they took that statement as like, oh my God, he's not going to start for the Raiders. Everyone freak out. This is what I'm saying. Hayward is going to start for this team. I understand the contract's not that big. 1 year up to $4 million. But Casey Hayward, I'm telling you right now, he is going to start for this Las Vegas Raiders team. When you look at the updated depth chart after the draft, after some of the UDFA signings, I've bounced around Hayward and Damon Arnett from nickel to left corner. I've had Rasul Douglas there. Ultimately, what you got to think about is that this team is going to have a lot more versatility, and they're going to rely on some younger players, especially like Mayock to step up, especially like Gillespie to step up when need be. Jonathan Abram is a player that I think could actually have a very sneaky big-time year with Jeff Heath leaving. But then, as you can see, Casey Hayward, I'm a believer that he is going to start, but you could also see him being thrown over there into the nickel. So here's what Mike Mayock had to say, and I thought this was a pretty interesting quote that I wanted to be able to bring up here around what he thinks about his team, Casey Hayward, and so stick with me. Let's face it, on the back end, we've put some draft capital on there. Damon Arnett, first-round pick. Trevon Mullen, second-round pick. Jonathan Abram, first-round pick. Isaiah Johnson, fourth-round pick. Amik Robertson, fourth-round pick. The second part of that quote is this. They need to grow up. Rob Milas, who remembers the defensive backs coach, has a great history, and we believe that. Between he and Gus, we're going to have an opportunity that these kids mature, and we get a bounce in their productivity. Now, what did Mike Mayock have to say about Casey Hayward, and one of the biggest reasons why he's excited for him? The whole key to him, veteran corner, true pro. The kids in the room, they're going to look up to him. He works hard in every single day, so it'll be good for them on and off the field. We're excited to have him. This is then also what Casey Hayward had to say on Gus Bradley's system. So this is also being tied in to what Vic Tafur was originally saying about, hey, he doesn't have to start to be a fit because he's going to be such a good person on and off the field that he's going to be a fit no matter what. I fit the Raiders perfect. I know the scheme like the back of my hand, and I played it the last 4 years. So give me your thoughts here, because if he can see it like the back of his hand, this is one of those reasons why I was sitting here on this show saying, knock on wood if you're with me, if the Raiders should go out and get somebody like Casey Hayward. So if you think he's going to start in week 1, I want you to type S for start, or I want you to type B for backup. And I am going to go ahead and type my S for start. He's going to be a solid player here. Maybe he doesn't get as many snaps as somebody like Mullen. However, he is going to be your starter week 1. I'm going to basically give that one 3, maybe 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. All right, y'all. We got one of the best audiences out of any YouTube channel, not just Raiders. Like, the nation is a diehard fan base. So what I want to be able to do is give you all some love, and I want to continue to grow this bad boy. So if you want to be on the Raiders Report, I want you to listen up, and I want you to listen up really closely, because you have a chance to come on tomorrow's live show, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Click that big red button underneath the video. If you can't find it, there is a link in the comments. There is a link in the description of every single one of these videos. So we're going to be going live tomorrow. It's like a whole 90-minute show of news, rumors. I got a segment for it. We do live mailbags, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So I'm going to hit you guys with a Monday challenge. You know, Monday motivation, kind of wake up, get the juices flowing a little bit. So if you want to come on the show, you got to take a picture of today's show, and it can literally be at any point in today's show. Like, I personally do not care when it is. Then you can share it on your Instagram story. Once it's shared, you need to tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. So the very first 5 people that go ahead and follow those instructions by taking a picture of today's show, posting it on your Instagram story, and then tagging me, the first 5 people that do that, I'm going to put you on tomorrow's show. So go ahead and do it. You can always hit me up on IG, remember, at Mitchell Renz 365. So last week, I talked about some potential free agents the Las Vegas Raiders could go out and get. And if you guys haven't seen the show, please go check it out. It's just another reason to go out and subscribe to the Raiders Report. New videos literally every single day, keeping you guys updated on what's going on around free agency, this and that. But some of the players on here, they're big name guys. But I also said this, that doesn't mean you got to go out and get every single one of them. So again, we keep you up to date with news. We got you up to date on rumors, all this good stuff. Please go check out that video, Top Raiders Free Agent Targets. The reason why we're breaking down this story here around Bleacher Report and basically going out and saying, like, hey, the Raiders should sign 3 free agents. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I don't agree with all of them. The first player up here on the Raiders Report by Chat Sports is Justin Houston, who is a veteran edge rusher defensive end. And this has been a guy that I've talked about multiple times on this episode. Sure, he's getting up there in age, but you know what? The guy's been able to stay on the field, and he's been a reliable piece to the Indianapolis Colts defense the last 2 years, which, by the way, he has yet to miss a single game. Sure, he had a visit with the Baltimore Ravens before the draft, and there's been some teams out there that have been looking to go out and get this guy. But if you're still looking for that solid pass rushing value, I do think he has some value there. At 6'3", 270 pounds, the 32-year-old also has a lot of experience playing in the AFC West, which he basically spent most of his career with. Plus, 8 sacks the past 5 seasons. That's some pretty solid productivity. The reason why I want to talk about this, though, is because just because Bleacher Report says something, that doesn't always mean it's 100% true. Now, when you look at the Raiders' defensive line depth chart here, you got Yannick, Max Crosby, Furl. You have some pretty solid edge rushers. Then the rookie Malcolm Kuntz, who, again, is a player that the Raiders have actually compared to Yannick Ngakoue. So I know a lot of people are out there going to be like, well, do you really need Justin Houston? Do you really need him? Maybe not. But if you have an opportunity to go out and get him, this is actually one of those dudes that I'm like, you know what, man? Yeah, I'm totally okay with it, because a lot of the things that Mike Mayock potentially said about Hayward being a good fit on and off the field, it's the exact same reason here why I would say, yes, go out and get Justin Houston. The next player, Bleacher Report, said that the Raiders should go out and sign Jerald Hawkins, offensive tackle. Hawkins spent last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I get the idea that somebody's going out looking for a little bit more of a veteran presence because they do have a young offensive line, the Las Vegas Raiders. There's no doubt about that. However, in the article, they go on and talk about how he played in 12 games and how he could be this reliable veteran. I'm sorry, I simply do not see it. Hawkins last season, he played in like 76 snaps. So, like, if you want to talk about going out and getting a reliable vet, there's a lot of other better options out there if that's what you're trying to do. And let's be real, is Hawkins actually better than Brandon Parker? I don't know. Is he better than somebody like Jared Jones-Smith, who are both backups when you look at this depth chart here by the Raiders? Because you got Miller, you got Leatherwood. They're going to be your starting left tackles. And need be, I also know the Raiders have confidence in somebody like Lester Cotton actually being able to play tackle. So, like, in terms of going out and signing Jerald Hawkins, man, like, I'm simply just saying, why do it? If you're going to write an article about players that the Raiders should go out and sign, and that's the name that you come up with, sure, maybe you're trying to save money, but why am I going to invest in somebody like him when I can go out and invest in players that could actually make an impact on my football team? Because, again, if you're just talking about depth, I don't even get that issue there. So, respectfully, I'm going to decline that. The next player that they go ahead and they break down, Jesse James, tight end, spent last season with the Detroit Lions. And the biggest reason why they said go out and get somebody like Jesse James, because he's a big red zone option, which, you're right, he is 6'7", 250 pounds. He is a bigger tight end, only 26 years old. Last season, 14 catches, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns with the Lions. However, I'm going to show you all the Raiders, like, basically depth chart in just a second, but before we get to that, I want to show you Jesse James' stats for his entire career, because if you're going to throw out the term red zone option or red zone threat, you like to think that you have a little bit more than 11 touchdowns in 88 games. Like, these numbers, sure, are not spectacular. He wasn't always the starting tight end, which I get, but don't call somebody a red zone threat if they're not actually a red zone threat. It just makes your entire argument just doesn't make sense. But when you look at what the Raiders have right now, I think they have one of the better tight end rooms despite what some people will say. You got one of the top 3 guys in the league, Darren Waller. Foster Moreau is going to have a lot better the third year after, Jason Witten retired. But the other names that I want you guys to just think about is like somebody like Derek Carey, Nick Bowers, Matt Bushman, Carson Williams. Like, this is why I'm going to sit here and say, you don't go out and sign Jesse James. The Raiders have already gone out and have taken flyers on some of these other tight ends. Like, the sneakiest name on that depth chart, I'm telling y'all right now, is Matt Bushman. Sure, he was hurt in 2020. But in 2019, 2018, and 2017, he led the BYU Cougars in receiving yards. And some people are like, it's BYU, it's college football. I mean, if you're looking for somebody that's 26 years old and can actually be a little bit of a red zone option and a catching threat like Jesse James would be, it's going to be Matt Bushman, and you already went out and simply got him this past, he was one of the UDFAs, actually. All right, y'all, I want you to go ahead and get started with news break. So if you're a diehard Raider fan, if you're looking for more sports content, I don't care what your city is, I don't care what your zip code is, this app is free and it can be really helpful for y'all. So go to chatsports.com/RaidersNB because I'll tell you what, we've had a pretty good success by people going out and downloading the app, but I need more people to go ahead and do it. I want to be the first channel here at Chat Sports to get to 500, and we're going to get close here. So go to chatsports.com/RaidersNB. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description. Once you go ahead and download the free Newsbreak app, I want you to search Raiders Report and then click Follow Raiders Report. So if you're looking for more exclusive content from me, if you just want more videos around the Raiders Report, you got it there. But if you're also looking for local news, weather, food, pop culture, all this other sports content as well, you can get it at the Newsbreak app. So again, I don't care what your city is, I don't care what your zip code is, the Newsbreak app can be helpful for you. Go ahead, go to chatsports.com/RaidersNB, search Raiders Report, click follow. That way you guys can stay up to date on literally everything in your city, everything that's going on in your area. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to be releasing their schedule on May 12th. Don't worry, we're going to be having a video around this and some of the real important games to be looking at here. The reason why I wanted to be able to bring this up is because some people are going to be like, well, they're just getting disrespected, but I also want to give you my 2 cents and why you're going to see some of these projections being a little bit low. So the over-under for the Raiders set right now is 7 games. So with new betting odds coming out because they're getting ready for the schedule to be released on the 12th, sports books right now are projecting the Raiders to finish with a 7-10 record. Some of you are like, wait a minute, 7-10. Remember, 17 games this season. It's going to be weird saying it, but that's just the way it is. But when you talk about 7 wins and the over-under is set to that, it does make me think a little bit because, you were 7-9 2 years ago. You were 8-8 this year, and the hope is that you continue to get better and better and better. But I know when I ask this question right now, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to sit there and say, oh, the Raiders are going to win 9 games. They're going to win 10 games. Well, guess what? You have an opportunity to go down in the comment section right now on YouTube and let me know. How many games will the Raiders win this upcoming season? The number that I've flirted with is 9. I'd like to be able to get there at 10. If the offensive line, Andre James, you get Denzel Good, Alex Leatherwood, if they can mold and be a solid unit on that right side of the offensive line, I will go double digits. If it's not good, you can see it I think it could get pretty bad. I'm just being real with you. The other reason why, though, is a tough division. It's also, you got a tough slate of games coming up here. So when you look at the latest AFC West odds as well, plus 1,200. So right now the Raiders are projected to have the worst record in this division. I will also say this. I've said this before on last week's Raiders Report episode. Don't be surprised if 3 teams from this division make the playoffs. The Broncos have done a lot of good things. The Chargers have done a lot of good things. But the biggest reason why I think the Broncos plus 400 is this, well, you guys are about to find out here in a little bit. All right, let's go. Now let's talk about the Raiders making the playoffs because the odds for the Raiders to do this, yes, is plus 310. No is minus 400. That is simply just saying if you risk $10 on the Raiders making the playoffs, you can actually win 31. These odds are basically saying, the Raiders aren't going to do it, which I get. Their last playoff appearance was 2016. The past 2 seasons, they've had a little bit of a collapse down the year, which we all agree with, and this team is young. However, there is some talent here, and if you can really put together some of these pieces on the defensive side of the football, please tell me why, this team can't make the playoffs, because I'm going to tell you, they can. But here's the question, and I want you to be honest, because that's what this show's about here. Will the Raiders make the playoffs? I want you to give me a Y for yes, Or I want you to type N for no. If you're going to type your N for no, like, I get it. It's totally okay. It doesn't make you a fake Raider fan. It doesn't make you a Raider hater. It just means that you're an honest person, which is what I want here at the Raiders Report. The last story that we're going to be talking about is Aaron Rodgers and potentially going to the Denver Donkeys. And I get it. This shows the Raiders Report. Why are we talking about him? It's important. Let's face it. If this man ends up going to the AFC West, if he ends up going to the Denver Broncos, that's scary, and they could do it. So the latest report was that there is a real possibility that Rodgers goes to Denver. The Broncos have the second most salary cap space, and then the person that came out with the report, Palmer, said that there's a 5% chance that he goes to the Raiders. So, like, ultimately he's saying that, hey, I don't think he ends up going back to Green Bay, and everything that I'm hearing sounds like he's going to go to Denver. If that ends up happening, look at the quarterbacks in the AFC West. I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best guy in the league. Aaron Rodgers just won the MVP. Justin Herbert just won Rookie of the Year. And then you have Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a damn good quarterback. He's not top 10 in my opinion. He's like right there at 12. But there's a realistic chance that Derek Carr could be the worst quarterback in the AFC West. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. If Aaron Rodgers does end up going to the Denver Broncos or any other NFL team, we'll keep you updated. So again, hit that big red button. And if you made it this far in the video, give me a like.